So I was chatting to a friend on email the other day about blood tests, and they said, you know, like, you don't need to get blood tests. Like, no animal in nature gets blood tests. Like, you need blood tests you don't need. It's like, yeah, that's right. You don't need blood tests. Animals in nature don't get blood tests. But if you want a more accurate picture of where you're going with your training, with your racing, with your lifestyle, then blood tests can give you a bit of a forecast, a bit of a warning or a congratulations that you're on the right track. So if you're training hard or not, just living hard, you know, you've got your family, you've got responsibilities, and you get your thyroid tested and it's low or high, or if you get your iron tested or your testosterone levels or your hormone levels or your cortisol or your B12 or your hemoglobin or your hematocrit or your MCV, you know, zinc, sodium, potassium, red blood cell count, all these things, if you get them tested, it can give you a picture of where you're at and maybe a forecast of where you're going. So if you're low in anything, then chances are you're not getting enough sleep, you're not eating enough calories, you're dehydrating yourself, or maybe you need to take a B12 supplement. So like, I've got a good friend, he's a housemate of mine, and he eats raw animal products every day, but his B12 is really low, and it has been for the last 5 years, despite eating a lot of raw animal products. And he's come around and thinking, well, you know, I should start supplementing, because obviously this raw animal product stuff doesn't work for B12. A lot of people have absorption issues, a lot of people live in a stressful situation, and if you're an athlete, you're training hard. This morning I went out with 2008 World Road Champion, male Alessandro Balan, and these guys just train so smart. You see them, when they stop the car, they don't stand in the sun, they stand in the shade. They always drink before they're thirsty, they eat before they're hungry. It's like blood tests, they get blood tests a lot as well. And just to see how you're adapting to training. So you don't need blood tests, but they're very helpful. Very helpful. It's just like, we don't live in a natural society anymore, you know? We never will. We live, you know, 9 to 5, most of us. We live in a money system, we live in high stress. You know, pressures, status quo, peer pressure, all these things, kids, mortgages, status, all these things. So forget living in nature, but what you can do is live close to nature and use some technology to assist you, just like right now using the internet to inform yourself. So using blood tests can be a great way to inform yourself of where you're going, where you are now, and where you've come from. So if you've never had a blood test before, your first blood test doesn't mean anything, you know what I mean? Get them every 3 months, you know, because you could be going up or down. So if you don't have any past blood test results, you don't know. You know, does that make sense? It's just like saying, oh, I'm high in iron. It's like, great, but were you low before? Were you higher? You know, so you could be going down, you could be going up, could be staying stationary. Just like traffic lights, you know? So does that make sense? You don't need blood tests, but they're very helpful. I get them at least every 3 months. I get all the things tested, hormones, cortisol, testosterone, glucose, red blood cell count, all these things, and I put them up on YouTube, you've seen them. Search vegan blood tests. And I've talked to Dr. Ferrari, who is like, some people say, the leading sports doping specialist. And I've talked to Ferrari on email, and he's given me like a little printout of what is good to test for and why. And understanding your body, you know, when you understand your body, you want to look after it a lot better. You want to give it the nurturing, you want to give it the high carbohydrate, the low fat, sufficient calories. You want to count enough calories so you know you're getting enough. Don't count your calories to starve yourself, count your calories so you get enough. Most people don't eat enough carbohydrates, they eat so much fat, they look fat, feel fat, get fat, or take drugs to avoid getting fat. So it's sad. High carb, low fat, that's where it's at. Alright, enough rambling. Look after yourself. So when you know more about your body, you want to look after yourself. It's just like a house plant. Give enough water and shade and sun, it's all fun. Because that's the rut people can get into. They can start developing signs of, like my friend who ended up in hospital, almost dead from dehydration. Another friend of mine actually did die from dehydration. So I'm sure if we did some blood tests before death, we would have seen some really bad things. And so I've taught myself a bit about blood pathology just by reading my own tests, reading other people's tests, and learning. You know, studying medical journals, self-education is powerful. So anyway, so my friend who ended up in hospital, elite athlete, 228 marathoner, some of you might know him, and big fruit eater, ended up in hospital and sent me some blood tests from April. And those blood tests, we could see that, yeah, there was a storm brewing. Thyroid was too low for an athlete. Some blood parameters were too low for an athlete. So by giving the athlete more rest, more hydration, more carbohydrates, we can support the body. And but often what happens is people start to feel a bit slower, so they think, oh, I need to train more, I need to train harder. I'm not training hard enough, I've got to smash it every fucking day. And then, but they actually need more rest. They need more rest, more water, more carbohydrates, but they think they need more training. So then bang, they burn out. Sometimes they die, unfortunately. Most times they end up in hospital. Some just get glandular fever or chronic fatigue or Epstein-Barr virus, whatever they want to call it. But so yeah, by doing blood tests, you can forecast what's going to happen if you're savvy. So always, if in doubt, skip training or train really easy, and take a month off if you have to. It's better to be strong than super strong for a month and then burn out for 6 months. Does that make sense? Learn how to train smarter, not harder. Rest is the best. See you on the road.
You want 30 bananas a day out of your lot, alright?